this problem right here says just to simplify. And when you're simplifying, you notice there's no equal sign anywhere in there. All you're doing is trying to put together the like terms, the things that go together. Now, if we did this out by hand, you would take this and do the distributive property and get 3x plus 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. From there, you would put together your x's. That right there should be negative 3x. And 4, that is not a 4, that is a 3, minus 14 is negative 11. Right here, my answer is F. Now, what they're telling you to do here is how to check it in the calculator, or actually to find your answer in the calculator. As you go up there, and as you go into your calculator and go to y equals, you put the original problem into y1, 3 parentheses, x plus 1 minus 2 parentheses 3x plus 7. And then you'll go down into y2 and put what you think the answer is. So a lot of times, really, you just start off with the first problems or the first answers. And in this case, it'll end up being the right one, 3x minus 11. The only thing I'd say about the calculator, some people might mess up on when do they press the negative sign and when do you press the minus sign. The negative is only when it's out in front, okay? The minus sign is anything in between two numbers. Now I press second graph. And the way you know you're right is if these two columns, if y1 and y2 are all the same. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Next, you can pause the video and come back and see if you can answer this question. It says a function is described by the equation f of x equals x squared plus 5. The replacement set for the independent variable is 1, 5, 7, and 12, which contains a corresponding dependent variable. Well, first off, the big challenge is which one is independent and which one's dependent. Do you remember? Independent's what? Okay, because you're either talking about the x or the y. You guys need to remember, independent is the x, dependent is the y. So a lot of times it's easier once I know that, put x and y. I've got 1, 5, 7, and 12. You know, when you first go to take your test, there's a few things that'll be on there that I know will always show up. And maybe when you first get your test, you should write down independent x, dependent y. That way you have it in case you forget, or because you start to get a little stressed during the test. If you forget, you can go back and look at that front thing to remember independent is the x. Okay? Next it says to go, the hint that it gives you, which by the way obviously won't be on the test, is to go to y equals, the easiest thing, and put the x squared plus 5 in there. So let me clear mine out. I've got x squared plus 5. Now I'm going to go in and second graph. Now, first off, when x is 1, y is 6. When x is 1, y is 6. When x is, that's not the right button. When x is 5, y is 30. Let's see if I can write a 30 with the mouse. There we go. What about 7? 7, it's 54. Oh, we keep going up. Right? I don't see a 30. I don't see a 54. Is there a 6 anywhere in here? It is B. Okay, but you would go through and give your answers, find your answers like this. Next, it says, which best describes the effect of the graph of f of x equals 4x plus 8 if the y-intercept is changed to -3? Okay, well, in this case, when you go in there and you're going to change it into f of x equals 4x stays the same, that is the slope. It's saying if this is changed to -3. Well, what's the only thing that's changing? Not the slope. Yeah, it's the y-intercept. In this case, it's not that the slope decreases because we haven't changed it. This is the slope, the 4. All right, it says the new line passes through the origin. Well, go in the calculator, and if you don't remember, and go into y1, and it says to put in there, oh, where are you at? The original one that they gave us, 4x plus 8. Do you remember how to go in and darken your line? Go all the way over here. Press enter one time. That'll give me a darker line for my first one. You don't have to do that, but sometimes it's helpful to see it. The other one is 4x minus 3. And now let's press graph. There's the first line. There's the second one. Well, part G says the new line passes through the origin. What's the origin? Yeah, origin is 0, 0. It does not pass through the origin. Then it said the x-intercept increases, and it says the y-intercept increases. All right, let's look at something. Here's my x-intercept right here, right? On the darkened line. Now it moves over here. What happens to that number? Does it get bigger or smaller? When you go to the right on the number line, it gets bigger. The x-intercept is getting bigger. The y-intercept, I'm starting up here at my original one, and I'm going what? Up or down? I'm going down. My y-intercept is actually decreasing. So your answer should be H. Next, number 4. It gives you this big equation, and it says, what is the value of x when y is 0? So I want to find out when y is 0. So the hint they gave you was to put that 2x squared minus 5x minus 18 in the calculator and check the whole numbers first. Okay, so we're going to go get up, pull my calculator here. The one on the computer is very slow. 2x squared minus 5x minus 18. Does anybody know what probably the number one mistake would be on choosing this as an answer? I want you to look. You probably, one of the biggest mistakes is that people would tell me that the answer is A. Why is A not the right answer? X is 0. It's saying what is X when Y is 0. But people just go fast and they see a 0 first off, and they think it's 18. You're trying to find where Y is 0. Look right here. The Y to be 0 should be in between these two numbers. Do you see this? It looks like it should be in there, but maybe if you don't see that, one thing you could do, well, first off, I know that 18 is not the right answer, negative 18. When you go into second window, you can go into table start. These are the X numbers. Put 1.5, 1.5, and press second graph. Is that 0? No. Well, what about 2? We already kind of looked in there, and 2 wouldn't have been in there. It'll take me right to 2, and that's negative 20s. Well, I hope it's 4.5. 4.5. Second window, 4.5. Second graph. Sure enough, that's where my Y number is 0. Okay? You could have been able to tell on your table just because it was the only place where it was in between, where it would go from a negative number to a positive number. So your answer should be D. Next one. It says after a ball is dropped, the rebound height of each bounce decreases. The equation is 5 times 0.8 to the x power. Shows a relationship between x, the number of bounces, and y, the height of the ball. Anybody remember this from a unit we just did? This is an exponential function. Before I answer this question, let's just review something real quick. What was this? No, the base was this. the initial value, initial amount, right? So this is where it's starting. This is where the ball's starting at. This base right here is how much it is changing. It's 0.8. So does that mean that it's going to be increasing or decreasing? So a fraction makes things bigger or smaller? It makes things smaller. Well, because think about it. When you drop a ball, is the bounce going to continue to get higher and higher? No, it's going to get slower, lower, and lower. Well, anyway, it says, what is the approximate height of the ball after the 5th bounce? So basically, x, I told you that this exponent up here is in a, before I've told you that's going to be time. So it wants to know after the 5th bounce. So we go into the calculator, go to y equals and put in there 5 parentheses, 0.8, caret x. Now go second graph. When x is 5, what is y? 1.6384, so the closest one right here is 1.6. Number 6. This is a good one. You know when I said just a minute ago that when you first get your test, I would write down independent and dependent for x and y, right? So at the top of my test, I would write independent x, dependent y. Here is another thing. When something is a function, when they ask you, is this a function? What is true about the x numbers? The x numbers can or cannot repeat. A function, the x numbers cannot repeat. And we'll do some more to review with that. So, right, oh, I jumped ahead here. Go back. Hello. All right, here we go. So if I look, I'm looking to see, okay, -1 goes with 5. So I have -1, 5. I'm actually not even going to use the calculator here on this for right. Well, what do we, it says, put that into y1, select second graph, and look at the values. And it wants to know which mapping best represents this function. Okay, so I guess we got to figure out what the y numbers are. It gives us the x. Let me go back. I did not read the question, and I was thinking it was going to ask us something else. So it wants to know when x is -1, 0, and 3, what are the y numbers? Just knowing this right here, look, these don't even have the right numbers right here. So it can't be B. So let's go in the calculator and put in there 2x squared plus 1. Oh, not 3. What did you do here? Ugh, okay. Plus 3. And let's go second graph. When x is -1, what is y? Did I not put that in there right? I didn't? 2x, oh, because what was it supposed to be? 2x squared plus 1. I put the wrong thing. There we go. Second graph. -1, 3. Okay, so here's -1, 1. Oh, that doesn't say -1, 1, does it? It goes -1 what? 5. Remember, it's what the arrow's pointing to. -1, 1. -1, 3. This is the only one that matches up because the arrows are matching their numbers. So the answer to this is D. Let's try one more. Which equation best represents the relationship between x and y in a table? Very simple. These type of questions, very easily, you should put them in the calculator and figure out and just match the points. Now, you know, just to review some of the other things we've done, normally on table building, we have the change in y over the change in x. Well, I get from -11 to -2 by +9. plus 9, plus 9. This is plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. Remember, I have delta y over delta x. 9 over 3 is 3. It's not going to be A and it's not going to be B. Now, again, you can just put this in the calculator and use this hint. Put the rule into Y1, press second graph, and match the numbers. Or with table building, you can do delta y over delta x. And I'm going to use 2, 7, just because I like the positive numbers. The slope, remember, it goes slope times x plus or minus the y-intercept. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then it's 6 plus 1. My answer would be D, but to use the calculator and to double check, you'd go into y equals, put in there 3x plus 1, second graph. And you would go through and match your table. -4, -11, -1, -2, 2, 7, and then go down to 5 and 16. Here's the next one. Which linear function best matches the graph below? Really, just put it into the calculator and see which one matches. That's one way. But here, let's talk about the things that what's happening. Is this line, is it increasing or decreasing? The line is increasing. If the line is increasing, what is true about the slope? The slope should be what? Positive or negative? Okay, the slope is supposed to be positive. Now, remember we have y equals mx plus b. M is the slope. The number one mistake, or one of the main mistakes, is that people think that the slope is whatever comes first written. You have to make sure that it's next to the x. Well, this says a -3. Okay, good. This is a positive 1/2. This is not correct. -3, yes. That says positive 1/2. No. Okay. Now, I'm looking, I don't even this doesn't even look like it should match. Because the y-intercepts are 1/2, and this looks like it's like 1, 2, 3. Why did I cross off B? Oh my gosh, here I am talking all kinds of craziness. All right, all kinds of craziness. The slope, you told me the slope is supposed to be positive, correct? Well, why didn't y'all tell me right there? That slope is negative. I know. I should have taken off the slope to be negative right here. Crazy me. All right, the y-intercept is 3. The answer should be B. So let me go back a minute because y'all let me talk crazy for about 3 minutes. Okay. All right. The slope, the line is increasing. The slope should be positive. So this should be a positive number right here. This slope is negative. It cannot be right. That slope is positive. That's an option. This slope is negative. Cannot be right. All right. Now, my y-intercept is up at +3, and that's why my answer is B. Can't believe y'all let me talk like that. All right. I know. One more while ago. We'll just keep going. Which of the following describes a line containing the points 0, 4 and 3, -2? I will show you table building wise. Let's remind ourselves table building. 0, 4 and 3, -2. Now, actually, you should know that this point right here is your y-intercept. That means there's your y-intercept of 4, there's your y-intercept. This one says 6, so D is not going to be right. This one says 6, so B is not going to be right. Delta y over delta x, the change in y, -6, the change in x, +3, delta y over delta x, -6 over 3, -2. Well, I bet the only answer choice that I'm going to have here with -2 is A. So let's check in the calculator using the calculator. go in there to, oops, let's see. Try again. Go to y equals, and I get negative 2x plus 4, second graph. You got C. Well, then I would look right here. I'd put this in the calculator, go to the table, and try and find 0, 4. 0, 4 is in there, and then 3, negative 2. 3, negative 2 is in there for this one. If, not that one, for A, because I put negative 2x. If you put in there positive 2x, you're not going to have that point. You're not going to have that point 3, negative 2. See right here it says 3 and 10. All right, next. Right here. The graph of the function y equals x squared is given below. What's that function y equals x squared called? It's a special one. What is that? What parent function? It's a quadratic parent function. What is, it's not in this problem, but what is the linear parent function? It is y equals x. The linear parent function is just y equals x. Now, it wants to know, how will the graph be affected if the coefficient of x squared is decreased to 1/4? Meaning that it will go y equals 1/4 x squared. Now, when you do that, you can put them in the calculator and look at them and see what the difference is. And where is it? Okay, so we'll go over here, and I'll go to y equals, and I'll put in there the original x squared. Again, I like to go over to the side and darken my screen. Let me go down here. I'm going to put 1/4, 1 divide 4 x squared, and then press graph. There's the parent function. There's the 1/4 x squared. Is it translated up or down? Is this parabola, meaning does this parabola moved up and down? No, the vertex is still the same. So it's not these two. And I heard you saying it. It is, the parabola will be wider. A fraction always makes it wider, and a number greater than 1 will make it narrower. Okay?